correct or not, there is a perception in the community that a large amount of the crime that's happening in communities is happening with illegal aliens. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that is a perception, and they perceive that a lot of the inmates of any correctional institution in the Commonwealth or anywhere else are people who should not be here in the first place.
Yeah. How
do you propose to deal with that perception?
Well, I'll cite my competitor, Scott Bove. He himself has stated that on any given day there's about 100 illegal immigrants at the county jail. The overall problem with that is they pose a huge taxpayer burden, a cost. I don't know if they're a high percentage of the crime, because when you look at the illegal immigrants overall, 99% don't come here to commit crime.
Mm-hmm.
They come here for a better life, for jobs, pay, things of that nature. But the ones that do commit crimes, yeah, I do think they should be deported. But I also know as sheriff, the sheriff doesn't have the authority to deport anyone. That's all handled by immigration, ICE. ICE is the one who begins the process. They're required to have deportation hearings. But that process doesn't begin until the end of their sentence. That's a lot of the times a sentence can be, they could suspend the sentence so that way, get them out quicker, because at $35,000 to $40,000 a year per inmate, the illegal immigrants pose a few $1,000,000 a year a cost to the taxpayers. So that definitely, we need to work hard with ICE to enforce their rules and laws. But unfortunately, it comes back to presidential administration as far as how they are enforcing it. I spoke to a gentleman who works for Homeland Security, Immigration, ICE. Mm-hmm. He's a detention enforcement officer. And, he explained it to me that just like that, it's every week or every month they change kind of their ground rules as far as who they're going to deport, when they're going to deport them. If somebody had been deported already, but maybe that was 5, 8, 10 years ago, they may not deport them again and let them go. If there's someone new and they committed a crime, if it's a felony, yeah, they might want to hold them and detain them and deport them. But if it's a misdemeanor, they probably won't hold them. They won't deport them. And also another issue is a lot of countries. Colombia, for one, I think Guatemala. I'm not sure exactly. Mm-hmm. But there are some countries that don't take the immigrants back. We can't just put them on a plane and send them back. The ICE has to contact those countries, and those countries have to be willing to accept the travel documents for those people. If they say no, then the country's stuck with them, where U.S. is stuck with them. So yeah, and they do pose a public safety risk, because when you look at, if there's 100 up there, that's just shy of 10% of the population up there are illegal immigrants that committed crimes. Does it pose a overall risk? Yes, it does. We do need to work on ways to address that. But again, a lot of it comes through immigration, ICE regulations, federal laws and stuff. The federal laws haven't changed any, but as many people say, President Obama doesn't want to enforce it, so to speak. He's kind of been lax, basically given amnesty in some areas, just kind of like not really given amnesty officially, but just not enforcing some of the rules. So, of course, that burden comes back to us, as local taxpayers. We in the county is stuck with them in the jail. So.
It's surprising to me to find out that we actually have to ask a country to take back their own citizens.
Yeah.
It's not surprising that they don't want to take back a citizen who's accused of committing a crime in another country.
Right. And that does pose a big problem as well, is if they're looking, well, you want to send us back a guy who committed a crime in your country, why would we want him back here? And who's to say they weren't criminals back in their country as well? So they'd be glad to get rid of them, and now the U.S. would be stuck with them. And so we need to find ways that to push immigration, but again, it also comes back to pushing those countries to take them back. It's not all countries. For the most part, majority do go back, but there are some that can't go back. So we're stuck with them.
And we want to keep in mind that the perception that a lot of immigrants, legal or illegal, in this country are not necessarily committing crime.
Oh yeah, I strongly believe, like I said, more than 99% of them come here for, like I said, a better life, jobs, money, the family, those type of issues. You know, they don't come here with harmful intent. It's the small percentage that does, you know, which we're stuck with, and we have to kind of figure out how to handle that issue.
One of the other things I wanted to talk to you about has to do with patronage. You and other candidates have said that you're not interested in patronage, and that there's a perception that there's a lot of patronage at the sheriff's.
The promotional process is a perfect example. When at the beginning of the race, all of the candidates had a interview session, if you will, with the union, the officers union. And one of the very first things they brought up was that getting hired by who you know. And many of them, you know, admitted that, you know, that's how they got hired. But at the same time, believe it's wrong and they want to change it. And the same thing with the promotional process. You know, the promotional process, contrary to what other people have said, has not changed. People are still getting promoted based on who they're supporting. And back in, I think it was June of '09, there were 7 promotions, and I believe all were supporters of Sheriff Glodis. And I believe somebody had told me that they had filed an ethics complaint against that, but I don't have any way to know that. But those are continuously is the primary issues: hiring and promotions, and you know, also the specialty positions within. People that are assigned to, say, transportation, the ones driving the vans, transporting people to and from court. That's a special position. Those are guys that, you know, get handpicked for those jobs, and that's based on favoritism, the patronage. You know, and they hire people based on favors. You know, if you know, because say you support me, you have a son or nephew that wants a job, that okay, I'll help him out. And you know, that needs to be wrong. That is wrong, and it needs to be cleaned out. It needs to be removed from the jail as far as any of that. What they do is, by that favoritism, the nepotism and the patronage, however you want to call it, you know, it's taken by simply bypassing a lot of normal hiring standards. Like I said, a written test, background, qualifications and training. You know, it's just a guy, they might have someone that was like you know, has no background, scored poorly on the test, but they owed a favor, they get hired. They get over somebody else who was more qualified or more ideal for the position. And that's something that needs to be eliminated.